Okay, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to Like Wrestling. So, I just want to start this off by saying, I know it's been a while. I say that literally every time, but I know this time it's been a while. Some of it not my fault, some of it 100% my fault. So, there have been a couple of really fun, cool things that I am still waiting to make happen, some of them, and waiting to publish for some of the other stuff. So stay tuned. It's not like I have been doing nothing, but at the same time, I also have been doing nothing in the sense that I recorded a Forbidden Door preview, even. And look, I had a whole little script that I wrote in English and in Spanish, and I just forgot, not English, not even Spanish, Swahili, which I'm not fluent in, but I speak. So I wrote a little script, and I was like, let's do this. This will be fun. Let's switch it up. And guess what? Then I just forgot to publish it. So, I'm clearly not cut out for this. I was going to cuss. I'm not supposed to cuss the first 15 minutes. I was really not cut out for this content creation lifestyle. So it just honestly makes me commend everyone who actually is and like knows how to edit things and like owns a computer. Things I aspire to one day, but also not really, because that seems hard. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about Forbidden Door, and maybe actually I'll do it in Spanish and English just to switch things up. Entonces, básicamente, sí hablo español con fluencia, pero ha sido demasiado tiempo, ¿ok? Entonces, si me equivoco o si me escapa una palabra, déjame en paz, ¿ok? Todavía, pues, ha sido demasiado tiempo y como resultado mi vocabulario demasiado, pues, mal. Y a la misma vez, mi gramática también. Entonces, si estoy hablando y no hago sentido, déjame saber, dígame. Pero si estoy hablando y me escapa algo, pues, estoy utilizando una palabra que tal vez no se usa en esa manera, déjame en paz, ¿ok? Estamos aquí a practicar y hacer lo mejor que podemos. Anyway, so, Forbidden Door happened. Forbidden Door was, it was good, it was odd. It was odd, in my opinion. I think it was always bound to be odd because it was not really a Forbidden Door. The vast majority of these people work here. I also, like, I'm not gonna let AEW off on that because, like, you didn't have to do it fresh off the G1 or, you know, the 5-star. You could have straight up, like, picked another date, and I understand you wanted the O2, and that really limits you, but I also think that you need to consider that also really limits your partners and who they're able to bring, first off, but second off, what story you're going to be able to tell. And look, wrestling is predetermined, so you could always make the argument that, you know, some of this stuff, like, yeah, you could forecast, you can kind of guess where these things are going. This show to me felt very predictable at times because you knew no major titles were going to change to talent that didn't work somewhere. That makes sense. Zack Sabre Jr. was not going to drop that belt to Nigel McGuinness. Like, you knew that. Kyle Fletcher was not going to lose to Hiromu Takahashi. We knew that. So, like, that kind of stuff is like, I would like for the Forbidden Door to seem a little bit more believable in that sense. But let's just jump right into it. So, I forgot to say it in Spanish, but I'll say it in Spanish when I remember. To kick off the show, actually 0 Hour of the show was very good, and I would argue that some of the stuff that was on 0 Hour should have been on the main card instead. Women's All-Star, I'm looking at you. Jet Speed and Michael Oku, I'm looking at you. It also makes no damn sense that Jet Speed was not on the main show when they have been a focal point of weekly television for weeks and weeks at this point. But I digress, because I am going to jump right into, we start with Christian Cage and Adam Copeland versus Kip Sabian and Luchasaurus. I tweeted this, but your name is Luchasaurus. Your mama named you Luchasaurus. I'm going to call you Luchasaurus. I don't know who Kill Switch is. I don't know that. So, the match itself was never going to be a 5-star instant classic. It was fun. People got to sing the intros. It was cute. It was whatever. I think still to this day, like, I really would have loved for Nick Wayne to be able to be in this match and to be able to be in the build to this match, because I felt like this could have been his opportunity to really step up and really prove himself and stand alone, when that has not necessarily been the case thus far. Like, you were the one doing the breakup. You were the son that was ruling all this. I've never been huge on Kip Sabian. Like, good, you got your little hometown pop. I don't necessarily think that I didn't need to see it, respectfully. Adam Copeland, Christian Cage, you are better off in the tag division at this point. Adam Copeland, I know you don't want to hear that, but I also know you're not listening. So I'm gonna hold your hands when I say this. The tag rope is not a demotion, especially not in AEW. And I really wish more people would kind of pay attention to that, because the vast majority of the superstars, the vast majority of the people who are best, but also treated like the best in AEW, have done some sort of tangible long-term tag run. All right? It's not just we're throwing random people out there, and, well, sometimes that happens, but it's not only that. All right? Everybody serves their time in the tag division. All right? That's not a bad thing. Edge and Christian, you're more interesting like that together. At the same time, one mic and a word limit. I don't necessarily need to see both of you each and every week, and if you're gonna do it on Collision. No sé qué más quise decir sobre esto, pero básicamente lo que estoy diciendo es que Edge y Christian Cage como parejas me sirven. Sí, pero si son solos, a mí no me interesa ahorita. Christian Cage is different. Christian Cage right now is probably the least I've been interested in Christian Cage, but that's not a bad thing. It's not like dire straits. You are not Chris Jericho. You will never be Chris Jericho. But we could be headed down that route if we don't get a grip, reset, pick a direction. That makes sense. I feel like a politician when I say it like that. You must commence the marriages. You must commence the marriages. Okay. ¿Qué más tengo? I thought the match was fine. It was not particularly memorable by the end of the night. Entonces, I give it 3 stars. TNT Championship, Kyle Fletcher versus Hiromu Takahashi. Primero lo que quiero decir es que Hiromu Takahashi solamente es un junior debido a su peso. No porque no tiene experiencia, no porque no está listo para ser un heavyweight. Es solamente porque no tiene el peso. Ya tiene 35 años de edad, ¿ok? Es importante a conocer eso y a reconocer eso cuando estamos hablando de su habilidad y lo que trae y lo que no trae, ¿ok? So my point with this match was, before this, in my Forbidden Door preview, had said that no one will ever hear, besides me, actually I didn't even listen to it, Kyle Fletcher versus Hiromu Takahashi had the potential to be a lot of different things. Kyle Fletcher is kind of, I think at this point, he is, you know what you're going to get from him, but I think he's very adaptable. Hiromu Takahashi is, as I was saying in Spanish, Hiromu Takahashi is a junior heavyweight because of what he weighs, not because he's super young. He's 35. Not because he's super young or because he can't be a heavyweight. It's just the mass, babe. So I don't like when people talk about yes, he's odd, okay? And are you always going to get his best effort? No. Did he put his boots on to work this show? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? He kept it minimal in terms of being off-putting, which sometimes he struggles with. He kept it minimal in terms of like all the extra shit, which is probably good because Kyle Fletcher would have killed that little dog thing. What's his name? Kyle Fletcher would have killed that. That's for sure. I was intrigued by this. I thought they both came away looking stronger. And the last few minutes of this match were very, very good. I know a lot of this is going to get lost with the main event. A lot of this is going to get lost with the conversation about the men and women's titles. But I do think at the end of the day, right, like, there were some really good matches on here that you kind of have to treat separately. You know? I felt like we were building towards the end. Yeah, I mean, I think Takahashi is a seasoned and creative wrestler. He is also, like I said, he is not clocked in every day with the intention of giving you his best. Which, hey, can you blame him? Can you blame him? I really enjoyed this. It makes me optimistic about where we're going forward, and I'm glad this match was on the card versus some of this we could have skipped. TBS Championship 4-way. Entonces, era Mercedes Moné, Persephone. I almost said Stephanie Becker. She was not in this. Mercedes Moné, Persephone, Bozilla, and Alex Windsor. I really liked this match because it wasn't polished. Mi estilo favorito es un poco, no raro, pero es un poco violente, es un poco, no sé la palabra en español, unpolished. I want it raw, okay? I want it to look like it hurts out there. And this match absolutely did. Bozilla, 21. I have big plans for you, okay? I have big plans for you. I also love when we play with different dynamics in wrestling matches, because yes, Mercedes comes in as 9 belts Moné. Put some respect on her name. Also, I'm getting canceled by Male Diva Sans, guys. Well, it was just a matter of time. Because I said that I thought Athena and Toni was better than Toni and Mercedes, but I thought Mercedes and Athena was better than both of those matches. Now, I don't understand how putting my GOAT 1 and 3 is Mercedes slander, but somehow that's what it's interpreted as. It's not. I would never do that. But I do think, and I said this when it happened, and I maintain it ever since, I do think that in order for Mercedes and Toni to have reached that next level caliber, they were playing too much. They were playing a little bit too much in order to be a top tier all-timer, in my opinion. But my point being, 9 belts Moné. She comes in as the odds-on favorite, absolutely. But at the same time, you got Bozilla, who's bigger, who's badder. Persephone, who's also bigger and badder. And Alex Windsor, who's also bigger and badder. So you have Mercedes Moné, who's supposed to be this intimidating figure because of her success. But then you have these other 3 girls in the ring that could ragdoll her. And guess what? They did. Bozilla was ragdolling everybody. And I was like, that I really enjoyed. Was every single spot perfect? No. But did that make it more real to me? Absolutely. I am glad it wasn't Bea Priestley as the Stardom representative, so maybe it's just a little bit of that I was excited about. This match was clunky. It looked painful. It will not go down as a beautiful dance, as some like to say, or, smooth jazz, as you could say about ZSJ or Nigel McGuinness. It wasn't that. But what I enjoy about AEW in particular and shows like this is that you can show so many different kind of styles. You can showcase both of those things on the same show and it still be entertaining and your audience still be engaged. I know everybody talking about Big Bozilla, as you should. My MVP of this match was actually Persephone. I thought she was great. I thought she was fast. I thought she was strong. And I've seen her perform quite a bit. But I was sitting here and I was like, that is the secret. I don't say secret superstar because she's already a superstar. But that was like my secret superstar of the 4 for this match. Alex Windsor, do not ever let these people slander you. You know good and damn well who you are, girl. And she is still one of my clients. You will not hear me slander Alex Windsor. Do I think she should be the next world champion? No. But that's just because she just got here. Is she on my list? Am I going to get to her? Absolutely. But yeah, I forgot to rate any of these matches. I don't think I'm going to this time. Forbidden Door, like I said, it was just odd. It was just different. It was odd. IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Nigel McGuinness, ZSJ. This match was just, let me speak Spanish. A veces hay unos cuantos, no sé la palabra, bouts, que no se importa demasiado si es perfecto o si es 5 estrellas o algo así, no se importa demasiado, es el momento. Y oh my god, sueño exactamente como un fan de WWE, y eso no soy, pero this was about Nigel McGuinness. This was about Zack Sabre Jr. This was not about the IWGP World Heavyweight title. That was never really gonna change hands, and nobody thought that. But that's not why we were here. We were here to see these two people who have been, I don't want to say on a crash course, but Zack Sabre Jr. and his style of wrestling, his style of technical wrestling, has been compared to very few people. And on that short list, Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness. And so, for him to be able to now check both those off of his, I don't say bucket list, that sounds kind of morbid, but check both of those off his wrestling bucket list, like, that's big. And for Nigel McGuinness to have this moment in the O2, like, that's huge. You're never going to hear me say a bad word about him. Zack Sabre Jr., you are a demon. You're a demon. And I don't care. I know that I'm the dog that you're reading Shakespeare to. I'm alright with that. I am your fan. I always will be. Now, again, I think that sometimes does he struggle against certain opponents and against certain styles because they just don't mesh well, they just don't clash well? Yes. But I think in a match like this, you can really see just how deep his bag is. And I think he's better than anybody in the world besides maybe a Chisero at making everything seem painful. It doesn't matter if the person is selling or not. When you're bending somebody's pinky to their fucking wrist, you as an audience are going to react to that in some capacity. And like the look on his face when he does it, yeah, I just broke your finger. Zack Sabre Jr., you are one of my elite employees. You will, however, need to come off that title because Big Soup, Konosuke Takeshita, you G1 Climax winner, you will ascend to the top of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I don't really care. People have been talking about, oh, he's part-timer, oh, he's whatever. You know what he is? 3 contracts because he's just that girl. He's just that girl. And what do you want him to do about that? No, we're not doing tours. Nope. He's just that girl. You gotta pay extra to see him, baby. But I digress. Having Bryan Danielson on commentary for this match was just the cherry on top for me. It was great. Bryan Danielson, you need to have a microphone at all times. I loved this match. There were some great moments. Not the finish. I didn't love the finish. But there were some great moments building to this finish. Of just, honestly, ZSJ reverse sequences that I was like, exactly, give me 14 of them. So yeah, I mean, it did exactly what it was supposed to do, which was melt my ice cold heart. I thought it was fun. Daniel Garcia, babe, we need a plan. We need a plan. I thought maybe you were going to turn heel. You didn't. We had this stare down with Zack Sabre Jr. I don't know what it is, but it needs to be something, and it needs to be something now. You are directionless, and it feels like everybody yanking your chain. It feels like the next generation is the next generation, you're all like the same age, but like the next wave of folks is stepping up and is getting their due, and you're not getting yours. And that's concerning to me because I don't think any of those people are going to slow down. Okay, so we got to stop being friends with people twice your age. First of all, that's not normal. Second of all, it's benefiting them way more than it's benefiting you. Make friends your own age, compete with your peers. I say you as if you're watching this and as if you're making the booking decisions. But Daniel Garcia, that's what we're going to do. World Tag Team Championships. Baldy Glocks, nothing for you. Nothing for you. That really, I had no faith at all that Brodito was going to win this match. Like, literally less than none. And they did! Which is so much fun because I think that they're so fun and they're so creative and fresh. And another FTR World Tag title reign is not what we need right now. The division has some life. The division has some, something to it. Let's not slow it down. Let's not hamper it by putting a stopgap like FTR at the top, who's going to hold those belts for a year, grab the microphone, talk about my daughter in North Carolina. I don't know. I don't care. He blocked me on Twitter for some reason. I literally, maybe because I called him Baldy Glocks, but what am I supposed to do about that? Lie? Anyway. FTR, nothing for you. Hurt Syndicate, this match itself was fun. I put it kind of in the similar category as the women's four-way. It was not super polished. It was not super precise, but it was fun. It was entertaining. It was off rip. It gave you action nonstop. Oh my god, TNA. And that would not have been possible without Brodito. If it was just the Hurt Syndicate versus FTR, I don't think that I would have enjoyed that match nearly as much. Hurt Syndicate, have we been talking crazy about you? Yes, that's because you don't wrestle and you don't really put people over. Have we been talking crazy about you? Yes. Do you deserve to be talked crazy about? Yes, I would argue. But when that bell rang, y'all gave us exactly what you needed to give us. It was time for you to come up off them titles. But you gave us exactly what you needed to give us. So I will, I'll lay off you for a little bit. Ricochet, Baldy, I don't want to say thank you, but I do want to say we needed that interference because they were not putting their shoulders to the mat. So I really appreciate you holding on to that hatred. Olvidé hablar en español. Pero además, dije on Twitter hace unos cuantos días, hoy, ¿qué digo? Hoy, que hombres hablan demasiado y a mí no me importan sus opiniones que tienen que ver con la lucha, que tienen que ver con wrestling. A mí no me importa. Y aquí viene Ricochet diciendo su propia opinión sobre algo. Era diferente, pero mi punto a la misma vez es que es igual a la misma vez que los hombres hablan demasiado, men talk so much, especially about wrestling. And here's my thing, right? I think it's probably crazy. I think every action has an equal opposite reaction, right? I think that Black Girl Wrestling and what I'm trying to do with it is to be that equal opposite reaction to patriarchy. So, is it a little bit out of pocket? Yes. Do I know exactly what I'm saying and why? Yes. But I was saying Ricochet the other day hopped in a thread right after I just complained about men talking too much. He hopped in a thread in my mentions. I was like, this opinion is only held by people who just watch WWE, because I said both the world title matches were good. La 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 la, blah 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 blah. My point being, oh my god, now I got all these WWE fans in my comments and in my mentions with all of their opinions. I don't care. When did I ask for a Q&A? I don't care. So you coming on my stuff, and I think this is just generally not about Black Girl Wrestling, but like whatever. I post something and you don't agree with it and you post your own opinion. Why would I care about that? We're strangers on the internet. I just told you how I feel. Did I ask? Was I putting feelers out there? And you know what else the thing is on Black Girl Wrestling? Si estoy haciendo una pregunta, ya sé la respuesta. If I'm asking a question, I already know the answer. Okay? It's rhetorical. Porque sé todo. Because I know everything. And aside. Brodito, I'm so excited to see what y'all do with these tag belts. I think it'll be so exciting. Brodito v Speed All Out is not optional. I don't care how we get there. I don't think anybody needs to be a heel. AEW used to do this all the time. Sometimes you just have to book the match. This is one that, who wins, who loses? We as the audience, we win. We, the viewing people, we win. Fantastic. Give me 4 more of them. Bandito, I don't have enough words to say about you, bro. I have to bring out a thesaurus next time. And you're not dropping that ROH belt neither. Bandito 2 belts. Yo. Cash Money Kazu versus Swerve Strickland. Quiero decir que AEW olvidó esta lucha en su propio sitio de web. So when I was looking for like the results of this show, AEW didn't have it on their own website, this match. So I'm not saying that your digital content people need to step it up, but I am saying that your digital content people need to step it up. Mistakes happen. But cuando Kazuchika Okada está tratando, no hay nadie en el mundo que lo pueda hacer mejor. Nadie. When Okada tries, can't lace her boots. You just can't lace his boots. And he was locked in, clocked in for this one because, baby, it's almost time for the rent to get paid. And he was wrestling Riken. Swerve was great in this match. I really thought it was smart and interesting that they played up and played into, the reports of Swerve having a bad knee. There were reports earlier this week that he tore his meniscus. So I thought that was smart that they leaned into it. I was genuinely concerned when he kept landing on it because, to everything that we've heard, is an actual injury. And then him and Ospreay both will probably have to be written off TV for a little bit. And we saw it happen to Billy Goat. We didn't necessarily see it happen to Swerve. Well, I guess, yeah, actually, because at the end of this match, for some reason, and I'm not even hating. I'm really not even hating. Wardlow came back and joined the Don Callis family. Genuinely forgot he worked here. Like, I'm not being facetious. I'm not, being mean. I just kind of figured it was one of those contract expired situations. It had been so long that I literally don't even remember what my opinion on you was. I don't remember. And for someone with such strong convictions and an inability to admit when she's wrong, I don't remember. So, Wardlow, I guess you have a clean slate with me because I simply do not recall. Don Callis family's a little too big. I understand that's kind of the intention, but I think there's too many people. I think if you say Don Callis family is going to be here, it better include Fletcher or Takeshita in some capacity, or Okada in some capacity. Otherwise, you can probably keep it. Women's World Title match. All right. Like I said about where I thought the trilogy stood for me. It's not trilogy, where those 3 matches stood for me. I really enjoyed this match. I think Athena is a dog. She's an absolute dog. And I don't think that there's anybody out. I won't say that. I think that you could put her up against anybody in the world right now because she's doing that caliber of work, and she has been. And I think this match really showed it. Do I necessarily think that she needed to win the title? No. Do I think that it raises questions as to who does win the title? Yes. Because now Toni Storm has beaten Mercedes and Athena, and those have been built as the top 2 people, in the division. People are saying Stat, and do I think Stat should be the next world champion? Yes. And Willow right after. Absolutely. Do I want this to happen if she's going to join the Death Riders? No, because the Death Riders need to die. When Darby Allin and Jon Moxley have that singles match, I do not ever want to hear the word Death Riders again. It has run its course. do not involve another person, especially somebody like Seth who's so incredible. And I just think that at this point Moxley is dragging the Death Riders along rather than them looking like a strong faction. And I understand that with Sap potentially joining, that's the point of like she revitalizes it, she whatever. I don't care. It needs to be, it's been too long and it's lost too much life already. Sometimes you just gotta take it out back. Okay, handle it like the horses. But the match itself is great. The women's division is on an all-timer run right now. And we used to pray for depth like this. Because earlier in the show, guess who came back? Big hate. When Thekla and Queen Aminata kept feuding. Because, I think they're going to feud forever. I think they're bound to. Who comes out to make the save? Jamie Hayter! Jamie Hayter, Alex Windsor, Megan Bayne, Willow Nightingale, Queen Aminata, who am I forgetting? Mercedes Moné, Athena, Toni Storm. Oh, we used to pray for times like this. Y'all don't understand. There were so many times where we were looking at the women's division and being like, you can only see the same 2 or 3 matches so many times. But God, God found a way to get the depth that we needed. And now we're to the point, one women's match on Dynamite is not enough. Too many talented people. And there need to be storylines outside of the world title, which now there finally are. And we need to decide what we're going to do with that world title, because I love Toni Storm. I think she's on the run of a lifetime. She's incredible, and she's incredible right now in particular. It is her 4th world title reign, and there are a lot of other girls right now that are on absolute fire. I don't think this reign needs to be too much longer, because you don't want to stifle the momentum of the other girls, women, you know. People. So I would say that sooner rather than later we need to have an extra strategy, because Toni Storm doesn't need the belt. She doesn't. She will be fine without the world title, which is all the more reason to move on. Because I think there are other girls that will benefit from having it more than Toni Storm benefits from having it. Loved this match. Athena. Toni was good in this match. Athena was great. Men's world title match. Alright, Hangman Adam Page. First of all, I need to get it out of the way. Whoa. But let me refocus. I have a controversial take about this match, and that I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was having a great time, and I was particularly interested in this match because after Athena lost, I was like, wow. Going into this, I was like, MJF's not winning. I don't understand they're doing all the thing. He still has the thing back, and I'll get into that. He still has the contract, but he's not winning tonight. He's not. When Athena lost, my jaw hit the floor and it stayed there, and I said, oh my God, there's a non-zero chance that Hangman drops this title tonight. So I was watching with bated breath. So this match was really good. When MJF actually chooses to lock in and chooses to show you guys that he can wrestle, is a very, very talented wrestler. I think that he did lock in. He showed y'all better stuff than you've seen in a while, not just out of him, but in general. I think that he really rose to the occasion in this match. We know how good Hangman is, and we know how good Hangman is each and every single week. MJF, he's been wrestling more, but do he wrestle that much? No, you know. So I do think he woke it up in a lot of different ways. Now, the end of this match is so convoluted, and it's so stupid that it overshadowed how great the first 15 minutes of this match were. Because they were really great. It was really fun. MJF was doing his thing. Hangman was doing his. They have been telling a really compelling, interesting story. which is like, actually they've been playing all these mind games, but they make sense for both of the characters. Hangman is playing these mind games because he's learned it. He's like, I know how to rage bait back. I'm not just gonna get rage baited. And MJF is like, well, I need to figure out another way to rage bait because, oh my god, these people are fucking evolving. I think all of that's good. I am interested in that. And I thought even throughout the course of the match, they were telling that story too. The issue comes in when you can't uncount to 3. We straight up, like, we didn't even pretend, right? Like, it's honestly, the issue started with not seeing Mark Briscoe's leg on the thing a few weeks back that we just never really addressed until the night of Forbidden Door. He got screwed out of his opportunity by the same ref that count to 3 and then uncount to 3. So unless we're doing a ref corruption thing, this guy sucks. That's just the most, like, that completely took me out of the match, because the whole point of being able to suspend disbelief is that you know the rules. And it's not like, you've seen it before where they count to 3 and it's like, oh my god, but look at the video board, it actually had their leg on the rope. We didn't even do that. You weren't presented any new information. You were just like, actually, match not over. That's not how that works. Now, me personally, I'm glad I didn't overreact. I literally, when I thought MJF beat Hangman, I literally tweeted, like, this is the kind of stuff that you kill yourself over. And then I was like, a little dramatic, especially considering the fact that Hangman did indeed keep his title. But, so I like everyone, was unhappy and wanted Hangman to retain that belt. That didn't make any sense. It was convoluted, it was overcomplicated, it felt like something you would watch on Monday Night Raw instead of an AEW pay-per-view, and I don't mean that in a particularly complimentary way. That was stupid. It ruined the match for a lot of people. I am still able to look back on it and to really enjoy it. Even the Mark Briscoe interference, like, we just had all of these different elements for seemingly no reason, and then MJF gets to keep his world title shot, which doesn't make sense in the first place, because it's essentially this, right? I know you're not going to want to hear this, and AEW is going to shy away from this. It is essentially the same as Money in the Bank. It is. It's your guaranteed world title shot at any time that you can take whenever. That's the same as Money in the Bank. When you hand in your Money in the Bank and you make that match official, you can't take it back. When you give the bitch the briefcase, you give a bitch a cookie, you give the bitch a briefcase, you can't take it back. That was stupid. That was really stupid. And I was bothered by that coming into this, and now even more bothered by that, because now Athena had her world title match and she lost and she's done for, and MJF still has his opportunity in a way that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And AEW has gotten very, I would say, very overcomplicated and been writing themselves into corners over the past course of a year. Because remember, the only reason that we're in this position in the first place, the only reason that Jon Moxley was world champion was because Darby put his world title shot against Danielson on the line, because he was like, I don't know if Danielson's going to be able to wrestle, and then Danielson wrestled that same night. So none of it made any sense in the first place. So if I was AEW and I was trying to write my way out of this corner, I would do the exact same thing. I would have Darby rage bait MJF into putting his world title shot on the line, and then that way we kind of come full circle, because I don't think that Darby gonna be cool with not getting his lick back after Everest. Or at least he shouldn't be. He might be because he's crazy, but at least he shouldn't be. You should still feel some type of way, in my opinion. Finish was stupid. Hangman, you will be world champion until I tell you you're done being world champion and you're ready to hand that belt over to Kenny Omega or Billy Goat. Anyway, moving on to the unsanctioned part of the evening. Oh my god, this lights out steel cage match included the Young Bucks, the Death Riders, Gabe Kidd for some reason, Baldy, as well as the Ace, the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi, William, Peter Charles Ospreay, the Billy Goat himself, the Golden Lovers, the greatest to ever do it, Kenny by God Omega, and a top five, not five, Kota Ibushi, as well as, I don't even know what to call him besides a loose screw, Darby Allin. this match was concerning to me before they even rang the bell because I was like, oh my god, these people are insane. There's not a lick of sense between the 10 of them. You know that you're really, really in for something when the most rational person in a match is Claudio. This match was exactly what I kind of thought it would be, which was insane. Will Ospreay, who actually needs neck surgery, get down from there. I thought his video package at the beginning was super emotional, and honestly, I shed a tear or two. I'm not gonna lie. It was super heartfelt for him to get the response there that he deserved. You know, I think it would have been a shame. I think the vast majority of people, whether they want to admit it or not, bought their Forbidden Door ticket in some capacity because they thought Ospreay was going to be there. And so it would have been a shame if he wasn't able to do it, because I know it would have been really disappointing to him and probably to everybody that paid to see him. But more importantly to him. So I was really glad he was able to participate. At the same time, what kind of doctors you got? They must have got you on the same stuff they gave Steve Rogers. They must have got you. I literally said, we gonna cut and paste your head off like Walt Disney. Cause, oh my god, he didn't give no damn. He climbed the top of the cage to start with. I said, now girl, you don't have to do that. And so I understand to some extent when people talk about Ospreay and they're like some of these unnecessary risks. But you had to know you were gonna get him this time. You just had to know. He was at home. He knows he's gonna be away for a while. You had to know he was gonna give you his best. Crazy. Kota Ibushi having some sense in this match really took me aback, because him and Ospreay got Tanahashi off the ladder. He's gonna climb that. Hiroshi Tanahashi, thinking your knees, girl. We still gotta make it to January. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were the glue of this match. They really were. The Young Bucks were incredible in this match. They served so many different roles and did it so flawlessly. Their intro made me laugh so bad. Because we were doing all this super emotional shit with Ospreay. We're doing all this intense shit. You know, everybody's feeling the emotion of a lights out steel cage match, and fucking Umbot plays. Loved it. That's why I literally was like, AEW, you charm me. You charm me. You do. Because you have your quirks. In addition to being, you know, we have our fun. And Young Bucks, I will always give you your 10s for everything. My goats. But for being able to laugh at yourselves and being willing to be the butt of the joke, especially at this stage of your career when honestly everybody should just be giving you your 10s. Loved it. Darby Allin, you need, like, I don't know why you thought Vincent Van Gogh was a good way to go with this. I don't know why you thought, hey, I don't need my ear. You guys can poke my ear, puncture my ear, and drag it around with a fork. That actually, there are very few times, especially watching AEW now, there are very few moments in matches where I'm actually squeamish, where I'll actually be like, oh my god, don't do that. I was watching this match like, get that fork away from his ear. I was so stressed out. And then towards the end, when Darby and Gabe Kidd started climbing, I said, now I will say, bald, Gabe Kidd, I did not think it was going to be you. I was looking at this lineup and I was like, why we got a fake freak in here with real demons? You know, you stepped up, you took that bump. I wouldn't have wanted to. I think there's very few people on earth who would have wanted to do that. So I got to give you your props for that, and only that. Mox was good in this match, but like I said, I think the Young Bucks were the glue. Kenny Omega, you looked like a superstar in this match, and honestly, to the point where, like, was this Ospreay's match and Ospreay's send-off in Tanahashi's last time in the UK? Yes. Was the superstar in this match Kenny Omega on the babyface side? Yep. The crowd was eating out of everybody's hand, but Kenny, and me, like I said, it might just be my Kenny bias, because one thing about me, I cannot be normal about that man. I simply can't. I don't know why. My Kenny bias can fully just be kicking in right now. But you are just greatest to ever do it. And Ibushi running full speed into the side of the cage, and people were clowning him. He low-key almost did it. He low-key almost got through that. So don't even laugh at him because y'all don't know. Okay. I loved this match. I had a hard time. As soon as it ended and they clapped for Ospreay, gave his standing ovation, sent him off to, I don't know where you would be like the top places to get surgery. He probably has healthcare. He's British. Sorry. But yeah, before they sent Ospreay off, I rewound and started this match over again. Yeah, like I said, my MVPs of this match are the Bucks and Kenny. But I thought it was great. I had a hard time remembering anything that happened the rest of the night before that. Besides like the two main title matches. Forbidden Door overall, like I said, do I think it was necessarily the caliber of AEW pay-per-view we're used to seeing? No. Do I think that that's because you had a lot of your biggest stars of one match at the end? Yes. Which was great. It was an incredibly entertaining match, but, you know, the show itself lacked a little, besides the end, the show itself lacked a little bit of intensity. You had an incredible crowd, so there was never really a dull moment there. But again, you could tune in to Dynamite on Wednesday and have missed Forbidden Door, and like you would be fine in terms of where we go forward from here. Now, I need to stop promoting them if they're not giving me any money. All Elite Wrestling, I am morally flexible. I'm willing to say nice things and only nice things about you if you slide me some coin. A girl got to pay for grad school somehow. So, just putting that out there. Also, if anybody's rich or knows anybody rich, call me. I would like to get a master's degree. Already got accepted. Just gotta pay for it. Anyway. I completely forgot to speak Spanish. Okay, so next time I come back here, unless it's one of my other cool fun projects, next time I come on here, it will be either in English or in Swahili, maybe both, but I will do it the whole time and I will remember, hopefully. Please make sure that you tune in to each and every episode of Black Girl Wrestling whenever they come out. Watch the Dynamite Diaries on Wednesdays here on Black Girl Wrestling or at Lyric Wrestling on her page. I'm trying to think of anything fun we can end on, but I don't think I have any fun facts today. Do I not know any fun? This is like used to be my thing. This is embarrassing. Go Pacers.